That's a new clock.
There.
Call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. tonight. We have a quorum. Is there anyone who feels that they have a conflict of interest? Okay, we'll go to the adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda? To what part?
That means new business?
New business?
Okay. Switch things around.
13.10.
Hey, good.
13.10.
And can we also add,
What was his again?
Is that 13.9? 13.9?
No, we're not. I got some more.
Oh, back and forth.
13.9 is tax services. We're going to put in.
and can we also add, what's that called? Policy and Procedures Manual?
Yeah.
It's already on.
Oh, is it on there? I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Okay, I'm going to add 8.2 response letter. And you have 13.9 as tax services. We're good with that?
Okay.
Need a motion? Revise, seconder. Dina? Any discussion? All in favor? That the agenda be adopted as amended at this meeting. Okay, adoption of the minutes. Are there any errors or omissions? Motion to accept. Paul, Andre seconder. Any discussion? All in favor? That the minutes of the regular council meeting held on November 26th be adopted as amended. Okay, delegation. Louis? Just something I want to read out. Under the procedure bylaw, 23.8, delegations speaking before council shall address their remarks to the stated business. Delegations will be limited to speaking only once, and rebuttal or cross debate with other delegations shall not be permitted. A maximum of 5 minutes shall be allotted for each delegation to present his or her position. Where there are numerous delegates taking the same position on a matter, they are encouraged to select a spokesperson to present their views. Delegations are encouraged not to repeat information presented by early delegation. The mayor, at the conclusion of 5 minutes, inform the delegation that the time limit is up. Only upon a motion to extend the 5 minutes limitation adopted by majority of members shall have 5 minutes limit to extend it. Delegations will not be permitted to assume any unused time allocated at another delegation. Upon the completion of the presentation to council by a delegation, any discourse between members and the delegation shall be limited to members asking questions for clarification and obtaining additional relevant information only. Members shall not enter into debate with the delegation respectively for the presentation. And once a motion has been moved and seconded, no further representation or questions of the delegation shall be permitted. We're okay with that? Well, we'll move it along.
Good evening. I'm going to try to speak loudly so you can hear me. I've been listening to your live stream. I don't hear anything.
We're working on it.
Okay, that's good. My name is Louis Stranger. I'm the chair of the Friends of the Convent, the FGC. The other members that are here, André Moquin is the vice chair. Roger Aussin is the secretary-treasurer. I want to thank Town Council for giving us the opportunity to make this presentation on behalf of the FGC tonight. I want to also thank the town for their support on the convent project throughout the years. My presentation should not be too lengthy. I don't know if this is allowed, but feel free to ask questions as I'm going along. The FGC's mandate has been to work to find a new vocation for the convent building, one that is financially sustainable, and to as well work to maintain its heritage character. Right from the start, in 2012, the FGC has worked with the town's EDO through the various stages of this project, and FGC wants to continue to work with the town to fulfill its mandate. A member of council has attended all the FGC's meetings. FGC's consultant James Lear of Preferred Choice and Nathan Wilhelm of Wilhelm Construction, the engineer, have had several meetings with the council. FGC's policy has always been to keep council fully informed during the development of this project. To briefly give you some background information without getting into too much detail, after the convent was closed as a school, a public meeting was held at Palest in 2015 to weigh the pros and cons of retaining the convent. In 2016, the town agreed to purchase the convent from Prairie South School Division for the sum of $1 and received the sum of $30,000 from the division, with the only condition being that the convent would not be operated as a K-12 school in the future. At that point, the EDO applied for funding to CMHC and Sask Housing and received $20,000 to do marketing studies. The result of the study was that there was a demand projected over 10 years for senior housing. At that point, FGC, with the help of the EDO and the consultant, went back to CMHC and Sask Housing to apply for funding to do further studies to get the project to the business plan stage. And the cost of that study, or those studies, were estimated at $250,000. Unfortunately, the application was unsuccessful. They said the size of our community didn't fit their model. After that, the town, after many deliberations, agreed to put up the funds to further the studies needed, with the hope that the cost could eventually be recovered from a potential developer in some way, shape, or form. So in 2017, there were technical studies that were done with the help of the engineer. These technical studies, to give you an idea of what the money was spent on, and it was close to $100,000 for all these studies. There was a construction cost estimate done by the engineer, and the cost of came back at $12 million, which was $150 a square foot. There was a geotechnical study done on the subsoil. There was a phase 2 environmental study done. There was a structural study done by J.C. Kenyon. That was subcontracted out to J.C. Kenyon, an engineering firm from Regina. There was a code review technical feasibility study done, and there was also an asbestos abatement report. So as I said, the cost of those studies were close to $100,000. The structural, some of the main recommendations that came out of the structural report, J.C. Kenyon said that the foundation of the convent met the code. The PSI on the cement was not up to specs, but because of the width of the foundation, the load-bearing capacity was there. They also recommended that a dewatering system be installed on the outside of the building to protect the foundation from the outside. There was a recommendation that the floor system in the main building part be completely replaced, because that was the only way that they could get a contractor to guarantee that the work would be building code compliant.
Okay, Louis, just hang on a second now. Your time is up, and now the mayor, we can actually make a motion to extend our time, if everybody's agreed. Seconder? Ray? All in favor? Okay.
So the consultant that we had hired, James Lear, did the work to get the project to the business plan stage. There was a marketing study. Well, that was the first study done. And then there was a financial feasibility study, which included a space allocation design. There was a project development and management plan that was done, and a business plan, and a project financial structure support plan done. And the cost of those studies amounted to well over $100,000. I think it was closer to $105,000. So there was a lot of detail done by the consultant, but the essence was that it was based on the life lease form of financing. You may have questions with regards to that. We chose that option mostly because the residential space, which was 1/3 of the total space in the building, needed to support the overall project financially. After the work had been done, the financial institutions were approached for financing. TD and the Innovation Credit Union, for different reasons, were not interested. Affinity Credit Union were interested, but they wanted to see some government financing. There was a meeting with the ministers Wyant and Merriman from the provincial government, as well as Dave Merritt, the local MLA. That led to a meeting with Christina Johnson from CMHC and Julie Unterreiner from Sask Housing in Gravelbourg in February of 2019, which was followed up by a meeting in Saskatoon with the consultant being present at both. Initially, the discussion was positive. CMHC wanted to see some of the smaller units developed as affordable housing under the National Housing Co-Investment Fund, but they were flexible on the number of units. To make matters short, CMHC eventually raised the red flag on the life lease program proposed, which made us not eligible for funds under the co-investment fund, which was the bigger part of the funding needed. They also said that we would not be allowed to charge the senior housing rate on the occupancy fee for the affordable housing units. But we were stuck to a much lower rate. There were a number of other concerns raised with affordable housing. This created another barrier. And so that pretty well tells you the story about how far we've been able to get with the project itself. Now I want to raise my FGC's concerns with regards to the Heritage Review Board. The FGC wishes to say further that it agrees entirely with the Heritage Review Board's recommendation that the town's municipal heritage designation of the convent should not be removed, and that any changes made to the statement of significance, which is part of the heritage designation bylaw, should be made in consultation with the community. That being said, the FGC realizes that, for instance, if the developer was to say, I want to remove the flooring system in the main part of the building, that obviously would affect some of the heritage sites. And so, obviously, the heritage designation bylaw would have to be modified to accommodate that request. The FGC is not opposed to the development of the convent. FGC wants to work with the town on that, but to do so, it requires transparency on the part of council with respect to the potential developer's intentions. And I believe if you look back in your records, you'll find that there was a letter initially written to the town which set out the FGC's position and what type of information they were looking for. So without further ado, I'm just going to sum up my my presentation. I think it's pretty well complete, unless you have questions.
I have a few. Does anybody have any questions?
I sent you some backgrounder information, which hopefully you got a chance to see, but there's a lot more to it than that.
So, what plans do you have now? Is there plans to move ahead with something?
Well, I'm not sure where we need to go from now. I mean, obviously, the town is saying that they've got a developer.
Well, that's not signed and sealed, but anyway.
Yeah. So until we know what's happening there, there's really not much we can do.
So, one thing is I'd like to see council go with Armin to the school to go through it, because they're new at this.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I think that's a good idea.
I would like the developer to come here to discuss things with the town and invitation to you guys, as long as you're willing to sign a confidentiality agreement.
I don't think there would be a problem with that, Andre and.
Well,
Roger?
we've already agreed to that. We agreed with that a long time ago, yeah. Initially, when we first heard the news.
Okay, that's all I have.
That's all you have? Any other questions? Okay, so I think we'll just leave it at that, and hopefully we'll be hearing from council one way or another.
No, I'm hoping, well, I'm gonna say January, I don't wanna say December.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to us, yes.
Actually, I was very impressed with the presentation, the support materials you gave us. When I was going through that, it's like, wow, I could get on board with this. And I really do like what you have here. I don't know what this new developer has, but I do like what you have put together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if there's information that you require, I think we're prepared to share what we've got. There is some parts of the business plan that is rather commercially sensitive, which we may not be able to share, but I think by and large we can share most of it. The business plan, by the way, is 350 pages,
Wow.
so you've just started. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would like to entertain a motion to have, get together with Armin, go to the school, hopefully. Seconder, Teresa. All in favor? Is timing going to be better on the weekend?
It'll be difficult for Deanna during the week.
I was gonna say, unless it's an evening, it'll have to be during,
Thank you, gentlemen.
on the weekend, anytime during the week.
Anybody have a problem with the Saturday? Armin, is anything wrong with the Saturday?
No. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my only, I can't go, so, and during the day.
Is it something that we want to see before the new year?
Is it something we need to see before the new year?
Well, I think we should see the condition of the building.
Absolutely, but is it going to change much over the next few weeks?
Well, no, I don't think it's
Yeah.
changed that. No. Sometime in January then?
January looks perfect for me.
Okay, should we put on a date? You around in January, Armin?
Yeah, I guess, the one thing about it, I have information on the original, plans for, it wasn't renovations, it was restoring as well, and I also do know the rooms that, they deemed as, historically significant, and so it might change your attitude, I guess, to some of the reports here, so just, clarify it.
Okay.
Should we meet to find that information first before
Did
we
you want to
go
come forward,
through?
not tonight, but I mean, come forward with?
I think the tour will be fine.
Okay.
And in all honesty, Teresa, you really need to see the building.
Yep,
And the other thing is a lot of the stuff that was deemed historically significant is missing in the report here, or that they were actually going to change. So that might change your attitude too as well. You'd at least be more informed.
absolutely.
So, I mean, whatever you do is whatever you do, that's your choice, but I'm just telling you is that, and I guess because you don't really know my background, not only was my mother a student there, so was I. I was the last school board chairman in the Gravelbourg School Division. I was on the committee that actually had that, the Gravelbourg Convent declared a National Historic Site. And on that committee was actually the chairman or the president. So basically the information I have and the background I have is pretty significant with that building.
Yep. Looking for all the information we can get.
Because of the meeting in late in December, should we be picking the date in January now?
It doesn't matter, I'm not going anywhere, Darcy, so it's, and I'm flexible. The only thing is, like I said again, is, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are not good.
Okay. Well, it looks like weekend would be good.
The weekend.
Yeah. That would be a couple hours probably?
All of that,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay, 8.1, letter to council from Gravelbourg. Motion to respond to the received letter. I'll make that motion. I'll second Teresa. Teresa. All in favor?
Do we want to read that letter?
Discussion, yeah, I think under discussion now. Did you want to read it out loud here, or does everybody want a copy?
Well, it'd probably be good if we read it so that
Yeah, the people on camera don't have
knows
copies.
what the letter is.
You want to read it?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay.
December 4th, 2020, Mayor and Council. It was brought to my attention that on December 3rd, 2020, we held a secret meeting of Council. Municipal Affairs, Rule 1. A special meeting called have to advertise to the public 24 hours prior to the meeting and have to state what is discussed. Also that all that can be talked about, nothing else. Rule 2, no public notice is given. If no public notice is given, there must be a waiver signed by mayor and council prior to the commencement of the meeting. Rule 3, there has to be a CEO or assistant CEO present at all meetings to record the minutes. Due to the fact that the mayor and council all advertise for accountability and transparency, there is no accountability or transparency when you hold secret meetings. I find it appalling that I was chastised by the newspaper for all the in-camera sessions that were held at our public meetings when I was mayor, and what does this mayor and council do? Hold in-camera sessions will also hold secret meetings. What is the mayor and council hiding? I request a reply to this letter within 30 days along with a copy of the 24-hour public notice or the sign waiver. Thank you, Robert Bowler.
I was actually asking about the responding letter.
Well, you should do that.
You should read that.
Dear Mr. Bowler, thank you for your recent letter to the town council. While I understand your concerns, it would appear you have been misinformed about the nature of the December 3rd gathering of council members. What you believe to be a secret meeting was in fact an informal training and information session. It was strictly volunteer with no secretary, no minutes, no motions, and no voting. In addition, there was no secrecy, nor was there any cost to the ratepayers. As former mayor, you know the complexities of running a small town like Gravelbourg, and that the learning curve for new council members is a steep one. At the request of some of our new members, we decided to get together and share information to assist them as they navigate the intricacies of their new position. We discussed the various committees to be filled, as well as meeting and deputy mayor schedules so that they can vote knowledgeably when these topics come up at our next meeting of council. We also discussed how our tax system works, the use of base tax, and the need to learn how our water is distributed and billed. Finally, we touched on a few unfinished town projects and some further future plans that new members will need to be aware of as we move forward as a strong and unified council. As mentioned, it was a volunteer gathering for any members who wanted to attend, to learn and to share, which does not fall under municipal affairs guidelines. I'm pleased to report that we have 100% participation. This goes to show that Gravelbourg's newest council is comprised of dedicated individuals, each bringing their own unique strengths and experiences to the table as a single goal in mind, to build and strengthen our community. Again, I thank you for your continued interest in our town council and trust that you will continue to support us as we work to build a strong and unified community. So, I want this letter like in and accepted, and that'll be sent to him.
I move we accept the letter.
Okay?
I agree with that.
Motion by Paul, second that.
send that, because I believe that, and I want to speak to that, is the meeting that we did have was, we needed to have it in public. And we were at a
It wasn't a
meeting
meeting.
and, sorry?
It wasn't a meeting.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't a meeting.
Teresa and I, we both attended municipalities, and I think there was others
Yeah.
that were attended to, and that question, that very question was asked, and in fact, it has to be public. There is no, and they were very adamant, there is no, any time there is a meeting where there's a gathering of council, it has to be public.
That
That is
was
a must.
my
And I
understanding.
can read, and it is recorded, so we can verify what the
Absolutely. My
recording.
understanding from the recording was that was a training session. It was
Even-
not a council meeting.
Because the question I had asked is, does it even include informal, informal training sessions, information? And the response was, yes, it has to be public. There is no exceptions.
It was not a council meeting though. That's the stickler. It was not a council meeting.
Was it?
I could have a barbecue and invite all the members of council, and it would not be a public meeting.
But whenever we discuss anything that relates to the town, it must be public. A barbecue where nothing is discussed about town activities or interests, yeah, we can gather that. But whenever there's anything, and we did discuss town stuff. We discussed community committees, we discussed scheduling. Those are all there, and according to the act, it has to be public.
I respectfully disagree.
Okay, well, we can refer to,
I have to respect.
we can refer to the act and
I actually questioned, why did you not tell us that at the meeting? Say,
I asked about the meeting, I said, is this public? And you had stated it was not.
yeah, but you
And
didn't say anything that we're
I
doing
really
something
questioned to it, and the reason I went there, because I do question about if I wouldn't have been there,
wrong.
what would be discussed as an elected member of council. I need to be there
Yeah, okay.
to find out what is actually going
But you
on.
didn't show your view that we were doing something wrong if we were
Yeah,
doing
I
something
did
wrong.
point it out.
No, you didn't. At the meeting?
Yeah, I did
You
feel
remember
comfortable about that.
Regardless, the meeting was held. The question I think on the table is, do we send the response as it is, or do we make edited changes?
I believe there should be edited changes to acknowledge the fact that we should have not had this meeting without it being a public notice and without having the secretary to record it.
Well,
I disagree.
I disagree too.
You said that get together,
The meeting that we got together on Monday.
and you said that?
I said I did not feel comfortable about us having this meeting when it's not a
It
public
wasn't
meeting.
a meeting, it was a training session. Quit
Yeah.
saying
You
it
can
was a
call it
meeting.
what you want.
You didn't have to come.
Yeah.
There will be no decisions made at these training sessions and
Paul,
information
there were
sessions.
decisions made.
There were no decisions
No,
made.
we
Not
made-
every day
Yeah,
comes to council.
we
We
made
have to
decisions.
look and discuss
Decisions
these.
are made at this meeting.
We made decisions
Decisions are
on
made
the
at this
dates.
meeting.
Paul, can I speak, please? Thank you.
Yes, and I'm telling you, decisions are
Okay.
made only at this meeting.
Did we not make decisions?
No, we didn't.
And then
We
were gonna
discussed
ratify it
options.
today?
And things to be done.
You
We
guys,
did not
you
make
guys,
a
just wait a
decision.
minute.
Yeah.
Both sides sound like they could be possible, but why not check? Just ask them. I listened to the presentation, Chief. I listened to the presentation. Why don't we just ask them to clarify? And because all of us have an opinion, but why don't we ask them to clarify?
Because what you're telling us is that we can't get together ever to discuss anything in a training and an informal session.
Sam,
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Paul, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if there's a criteria that's written around how you can have a meeting, we should find out what it is. And this is a test case. That's all
Sam,
it is. So
my understanding from the Municipalities Association is if it is an official council meeting, a meeting of council like tonight, absolutely, that's true. If it is a training exercise, it does not fall under those guidelines.
I heard you, and I think your point is well taken, but I think the only person that would tell us yes or no is to go right to them and ask that question. And
But I did go to them and ask them, that's the point. I asked them online.
Yeah, so did I. So
I heard-
what I'm
I
hearing
heard
is
the
we go both interpreted the answer differently. So let's go to municipality and get it correct.
So when we do strategic planning, that's an open public meeting? Means for that too?
Did we talk about strategic planning?
No, we didn't.
No.
It might be.
No, so we didn't.
No, but I mean,
We
is
didn't
it
talk-
gonna be a public meeting for us to discuss the future?
Pardon?
Are we gonna have a public meeting to discuss where the direction of the town council's going for the next 5 years and 10 years?
Well,
Is
as you're
that
aware
our
of the
duty?
Municipalities Act, that does not have to be.
Okay,
But when we discuss council appointments, when we discuss changes of dates, when we discuss,
okay.
how a tax
The
system works,
motions are being
those
made
all
here
public.
tonight.
No decision was
So that's
made
like
on
having
it.
a meeting to decide what we're gonna have motions on.
Yes, so that we don't waste time in
That's right.
council. We looked at everyone's schedule, everybody had input, but no decision was made.
What did-
Ask me, how does that fit with the whole idea of open discussion?
Well, how we the last council used to bring reports with motions written out, with no option but to take one of the motions already. Were those all decided in advance? When were they decided?
Paul, in all those motions, there was always other.
Yeah, but that was all decided, obviously, without the acknowledgement of the rest of the council.
Well, I won't go there. That's.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you don't know there because it's
Okay, well, let's find out.
The issue and add that date, okay, to us.
I think we need to get referred to municipalities and then get that clarified.
And next time, if something like that happens and you have knowledge, I would like to know about it so that we're not put in a situation that's very unusual.
Mr.
No,
Mayor,
that's not unusual.
Mr. Mayor, you have 18 years of knowledge.
But we
Council.
don't.
I would trust that you would know that.
Andre,
Yes, I
we
understand
don't.
that you don't,
That's why it's important for us to
That's
have
what the
meetings to
purpose of
find
that meeting
out.
too, to understand things.
but there are
Okay.
people who here who do have the knowledge.
Andre,
That's it, we're done with this one.
Okay.
So, we're not sending this letter off yet until we find out?
No, I think we send a letter off.
Okay.
it was it was,
It's unanimous vote.
Okay.
I would like a recorded vote on that.
yeah, I
It's
think
written,
that's
it's
it.
already-
I would like to have a recording vote too.
On that.
We didn't vote on this letter?
You hadn't voted on
I thought we did.
it.
No.
I did too.
You had,
Motion.
you had a motion, and then you had your discussion.
Oh, just that.
Okay.
Okay.
Recorded vote? Teresa?
Yes, I can stand behind the
I'll second
content.
Raymond? Paul?
Yes.
Denny?
Yeah.
Yes?
Well, I agree with the intent of it, for sure.
Okay.
No,
And I'm
not
yes.
without some changes.
That's passed. All right. Say what? It's passed.
Say carried.
Carried, sorry.
Telecamera.
Yeah. Okay, 9.1 is sports and rec and culture committees. We have roughly 5 to go through. So the first one, we need a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting of November 3rd. Sam, seconder. Any discussion? We're good with it?
Yeah.
All in favor? Carried. Second one is the December 1st minutes of the meeting. Basically, these go for receive and file, I guess. is what they do. Motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Dee?
One second.
Second, all right, Andre. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, number 3, recommendation to council. Okay, motion on that one, on recommendation to council. seconder?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Any discussion on it?
Well, I think given these people seem a little confused and everything's a bit of a mess, they have to have somebody to at least put everything together and get all of those issues that are missing that haven't been done. And I think if we hire on an hourly basis, I think that would be the best option.
I mean, it's an out-of-scope position, so it's, you know, the hours can be flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah, contract, yes. So any dollar value,
What are we paying Chrissy?
Tony?
We have to pay the same,
Okay.
$20 an hour. The motion's agreed that we hire on contract a worker at $20 an hour to help with recreation and culture, advisory committee.
For a specific time frame?
I think for I think given the situation here with the rink, the deep water rink is operating, as hours that are required when you,
But it's gonna lead into swimming pool. That idea, it's gonna be a fair amount of hours. I mean, it's not, but we need somebody with experience.
yeah,
We don't get
none of them are doing
it.
volunteer work.
Yeah. So, what's that?
Oh, would we have to advertise this position now? We should.
Were you at this meeting, Dustin? Was this the meeting you sat in?
Yep. They just said they.
So they want to, Chrissy will do scheduling,
And she's tired.
and then this person will pick up.
Well, I think then the person will probably pick up the scheduling unless Chrissy continues.
No, this person would be actually coming in to fulfill these things that they're talking about,
The grants.
like the grants and, there's things that need to be taken care of, that Chrissy is doing the scheduling and helping out in other areas, but this person would basically do what Cassandra was gonna do. Okay, all right?
Now, what happens is once the rink shuts down, then her job is done, Chrissy's, right? And then that person would move on to the pool. All in favor? Carried. And the last one, let me see. I thought I had 5. Oh, the request for information. Okay, we need a motion on the recreation's request for information.
I'll make that motion.
Seconder, D, and discussion. The committee would like to start working on the 2021 budget as soon as possible, therefore committee is requesting budgets and actuals from the following years, 2018, 19, and 20. Committee would like to start working on their allocation recommendations for TIPS grants and is requesting all applications that have been put forth. The committee will compile applications and create a report to be submitted to council.
I believe it makes sense for them to have all that information.
Yep. All in favor? Carried. Okay, this is just committee meetings, but it has to be, we have to post these. Someone need a motion for SRC advisory committee meetings?
I'll make a motion for
Lee?
the
Seconder? Paul? Any discussion on it? All in favor? Carried. All right, meeting schedule.
Those would be the meetings we attend, right?
I
And
believe so,
us
yes.
to, yeah.
Yeah, hang on to that.
Yeah.
Okay, meeting schedule. Council meetings. We got down here, meeting day changed to Tuesdays as a possibility. Oh, motion, sorry. Motion for me, scheduled meetings for council.
I'll make a motion.
Seconder, Paul, discussion.
There was the question about the possibility of moving to Tuesdays. If we do go to Tuesdays, that will interfere with the rec meetings, right? The ones that we just saw a moment ago that are on Tuesdays?
If that lands on the same, I'm not sure which. If we do every 2 weeks.
Oh, right. So
I'm
there's
not sure.
once a month.
I'd
Okay,
have to
gotcha.
look. See, actually, that first one doesn't, second one doesn't, third one doesn't. April, that one doesn't, oh, it's not gonna affect them at all.
Okay, good.
13th, June, no. July,
They'll have to adjust their meetings.
no, but it looks like their dates don't coincide with ours.
Yeah.
So the discussion is to change the
Well, we had initially looked at it for curling to accommodate our members who are curling. I guess if it doesn't affect anyone, then it doesn't really need to be changed.
okay.
I would prefer to have it on Tuesday myself.
Okay, Tuesdays are good.
Tuesday is much easier to work with. I like having the package going into the weekend. Give us time to do material, give us time to get onto the meeting.
Is this something that we can, I'll say, bring up once we have a third person downstairs because it's a rigmarole? Like, for information?
It would be very difficult to meet the deadlines by changing.
The deadline didn't need to be done on Thursday.
Well, right now, the deadline is Friday. We have to have everything out to you by Friday, and the meeting's not till Thursday. So that means we're gonna have everything out at an earlier time. So, like I said, it's very disruptive to change this.
You'd have to have the stuff out by Wednesday?
You know what, I couldn't even look, to even tell you the truth, to look at it, it's just,
But we could even if we got the material on Thursday, again, it gives us the time over the weekend for the material.
I like the idea,
I
I
do
just
too.
think the timing's off right now.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at what we have, because there's a lot of stuff from a long time ago even. Once we sort of get the backlog done, and there's 3 people working full-time downstairs, I think we can take a look at it again. But we still have to pass this one as is then.
Well, I think what you said sounds sensible.
Okay, all in favor of this schedule? Okay, Public Works meeting. Motion?
Yeah, sorry.
Motion? You made the motion? No? I need a motion to accept the Public Works meeting schedule? I'll make that motion. Seconder? Discussion. I just want to bring something up. I'm just going to ask our manager here, Dustin, is
Yeah.
that a good day?
Which one?
Well, we could move it to Tuesday is what I'm saying. I'm asking you.
Monday works fine for me.
Works fine? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Okay, deputy mayor schedule. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the deputy mayor's schedule.
Seconder, and discussion. No discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay.
So if you're gonna have a heart attack, wait till March, okay? So,
Okay, the schedule for town council committees. So now, we gonna make a motion for all the town councilors, but the individuals, we have to make separate ones on. Okay, so I need a motion to accept all the appointees of town council.
I'll move that.
Okay, seconder? Ray? Discussion?
In our meeting that we had on Monday, I was put down in the public works, so that my name would be in public works, and my name would be at the museum, and I see that I was removed from
Yeah,
it.
they're taking you off.
You've taken me off, is there a reason why?
No. Just, I have the power to do it.
Okay.
So that means we didn't do the wrong thing without having a meeting. Right? I have, like, this is where we're talking, making appointees, not back there, right?
Good point.
Does it make sense?
What is that utility committee? There's nobody in it.
Utility committee.
That's your utility.
Oh, public works.
Yeah, that's your utility.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's a,
That has to be appointed also. You'd like to do it at a later time.
yeah, okay.
Okay, where, what time we have, because I don't have that before.
And people, you have to speak louder.
I know, it's tiring, like, you know what, one of these days, we're just gonna, if we don't get our mics up here, like, if I wanna keep talking, I'm losing it, because we can't just keep yelling through this stuff. So, they're just gonna have to accept it until we can take our masks off, that's, unless we get something going here. Get a mic up here that
Put a mic
is
in.
gonna work, yeah.
So what is the utility committee for?
It's to do with the water bill. That was, I mean, there's two at large, three at large, I guess. And you and I on it? No, I am.
Water bill?
Yes.
So it has to do with the water bill?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it?
Has to do with the water rates.
Yeah, the water rates.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were on it, and you're still on it then?
Yeah.
They're gonna be on.
Should we, okay, I haven't contacted the other guys to see if they want to stay on it yet, so I didn't want, we don't want to put their names in yet.
So that would be the water committee that was created.
Yes. And they, what did they call that? It had a different name. Oh, okay. Special committee,
I'm not sure what
it was a different name.
Is that right?
Yes. Did you get
So-
it?
So are we gonna have any town councilors on the contact committee?
Well, I guess we all are on that.
We have toes
Oh,
on
yeah.
the conduct committee.
Well, we're gonna have to discuss
No
that whole
councilors.
issue in January. We're gonna have to
Yeah,
figure that out together.
but the convent committee, yeah, like,
That would be part of the group that was here.
well, that's Andre then too, we could have Andre and.
No, they're not on that.
No, I mean, they're just members at large.
Yeah.
We're thinking that people from this body should be on it. But I'm happy
We
to,
never did.
I'm happy to put it down the road a little bit till we find out where we're going.
Yeah, I agree with Sam.
Because I don't think they're gonna be doing much until we find out about this fire.
I think so.
Okay, so all in favor on the councilors portion? Carried. Okay, a motion to appoint Louis Strange to the Southwest Transportation Planning Council.
I'll make that motion.
Andre, first, motion, seconder. Sam,
I'll second.
any discussion?
Louis has done an excellent job over the years, and I think we did.
He's definitely improved his Typing ability.
So was I put on that committee with him?
Yep, you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, oh yeah, so, yeah, okay, I find that, good.
All in favor? Carried. EMO coordinator, Matthew Forey, need a motion to appoint.
I'll make that motion.
Andre, seconder.
Well, I'll second it, because I think we should talk to him.
I did.
Oh, you did, oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
about an hour ago.
What was his response?
Yeah, you stay on.
He stayed on.
Yeah. Okay.
At what rate?
Oh, I didn't talk rates.
Well, it was $100,
Oh, okay. That's what he was getting before.
yes.
Okay, so we got rates on it. Okay, what is Louis?
No, Louis doesn't get a rate because he gets paid by them,
Oh, okay.
but he puts in his expenses, like mileage and his per diem.
Okay.
And so, but Matthew is different because he has obligations to keep the emergency plan up to
Okay.
date and stuff like that. So previous coordinators were paid $100 a month. Okay.
Okay. All in favor? Carrie?
Opposed?
Opposed? 2. All right.
Is there discussion of that over?
Oh, did I say, did I have discussion on it?
Yeah.
Well, it just occurs to me that, you know, he would be a good person to come for a meeting with council.
Yeah, he did before.
I know, he hasn't been, I worked with him on
Yeah.
previous councils, but it'd be nice, there's people who aren't as in favor of him as others, so, I mean, why not clarify his position,
Yeah.
let him face us and talk about it, and tell him what we want to ask him, and that might make people feel better.
Have a revised report on where he is. with
Right.
The
And
issues.
what,
Yeah.
maybe what we expect.
Yeah.
Could we even get one report from him?
Yeah. I haven't seen any reports.
I understand there was no report to the council.
No.
But we've already been through that. The fact is what we want to do ahead.
Yeah.
So I'd say it'd be good to have him here.
Yep.
Tell him what we think the council should expect.
A recommendation.
Yes, and talk to him and then listen and then go from there. And
Okay. Now, a motion to accept. Actually, already passed, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of went back.
yeah, it was, sorry, I got
Yeah.
it.
But it was valuable information though.
Oh, okay, we need a motion for him to attend the next meeting.
Well, I'd like to move that.
Okay, seconder,
I'll second that.
Andre. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we need a motion to appoint Michelle Poto to the regional board, the library board, regional board,
I'll make a motion.
and local. So, motion D,
Yeah.
seconder,
I'll
Sam,
I'll second.
discussion. She always sends a very good report.
Yep. Close book.
Yeah. All in favor? Carried. Toes Geeson, convent. Or basically, the only, she just looks after the building, cleans. She's not part of that group anymore. Like, yeah,
Under the comment, he's not part of that committee yet.
well, she's never been called with these guys for a long time, since Henri.
So do we need someone on that?
Well, it gets pretty dirty over there, and it doesn't.
No, that's,
But this is about being on committee, not being a janitor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, then she doesn't have to be there. So.
I mean, I,
Well, you can just stroke it off.
Yeah.
Look, I thought the comment, there's going to need to be some stuff,
Yeah.
and then maybe we can fill those positions better.
Okay.
You know, like, we need to have that meeting.
No, but she just basically goes in and cleans, and if somebody phones and they want to book it for a wedding, say, that type of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. Pigeons get in and then things have to get cleaned up, so.
So you can just stroke it off.
Stroke it off. Okay, we need a motion for Wood River Mutual Aid Area EMO Coordinator, Dan Lamar.
Did you talk to Dan?
Yep.
And he's willing to stay on? Okay, so I'll make that motion.
Okay, Andre, seconder. Paul, discussion. Every one of these people I've talked to. So by rights, I would have to phone them from a meeting to tell whether it's all right?
No,
No, just ask me.
Just, yeah,
I send them a letter.
yeah.
They're appointed.
Okay.
Does everybody know what the mutual aid EMO is? Okay, does everybody know what that is?
No, I'm
Okay.
not totally.
Mutual aid was formed so that we could get, we had to form a regional, it's a regional mutual aid. It involves the RM of Gravelbourg, the village of Shamrock, the town, the RM of Shamrock, the village of Kadair, and town of Gravelbourg. They meet, they used to meet once a month, but I think they're now meeting quarterly. And what it was, at that time, the government was giving money through the JET grant, and so they were able to buy tools. So they would submit, and it was a 50-50. The partners had to come up with money, and the government gave you 50, so it was matching grant. And so they charge $5 per capita to each of these organizations, and that's where they have money. And so basically what they're doing is they provide whatever the fire department needs, they help to get.
I think from radios to the
Everything.
hydraulic scissors to
Jaws of
territory,
life.
jaws of life.
So what kind of money is that?
Oh, it adds up pretty good.
Yeah, but they, like you said, that's what it's there for. It's for them to help out, and it's a regional thing because they go to all, we have an agreement with all these places. That's what it's like. Yes. They're all located at the fire hall, all their stuff.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, Old Wives Watershed Authority. Need a motion to receive and file.
Did we miss Transact? Oh, no, sorry, that's the end.
I'll make the motion to receive the file.
Okay, Andre, seconder.
Awesome.
Sorry. Sam, seconder. Any discussion on it?
No, really good report. Some probably would be good to put on Facebook. Some stuff, especially on rice and.
Well,
Did they do that?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
All in favor? Carried. Southwest Transportation Planning. Motion to receive and file the attendance report.
I'll make that motion.
Andre, Ray, seconder. Any discussion?
Good report from Louis, I could read it.
The first one.
Typing all of a sudden, cool.
But I find his reports
You
are very
might be
concise.
listening.
Yeah.
They're very the only one.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, Public Works Monthly Report. Motion to receive and file, please.
I will make the motion to receive and file.
Andre, seconder. Ray, and discussion. We have the man here if there's any questions.
How much did it cost to put in that 96 meters of storm sewer?
Yes, I know.
Just a little shy of 90,000, somewhere in there. Can't give you an exact dollar value, but right around that $90,000 mark. Delivered, installed, filled the grade.
That was 240 feet, right? is it?
96 meters works out to about 340 feet.
Okay.
We still have, what, 1,500 meters to go yet? Not meters, feet to go.
The total length was 1,500 feet, so we have about 1,200 feet to go, and in that, we have to put a big manhole, a big vault for a manhole.
We gotta keep working at it.
Is that all the town expense, or was there a grant for that?
That was partially done under meat funding, partially done under gas tax.
Okay.
As well, there was some town budget in there as well.
All in favor? Carried. Okay. Financial reports. This is the budgetary control one. This lets you know where we are, the variances. Oh, sorry, I need a motion to accept. Paul, seconder, Teresa, discussion.
Yeah, in that item there, could you, I was looking at the head sewer charges, it's 440-220-100.
Page number?
I can't remember.
Yep.
40220. That's on your water bill.
I just wrote down my numbers here. I'd just like to know
Page 3.
what all that is really. You explain
It's
that.
on your water bill.
So is that what goes on the water bill then?
Yes.
So those are the charges, sewer charges, that's at
Yes, you have-
$16 or $14 there?
Yep, you
That's
have
on-
your
that's on the
water
water.
charges.
It's based on consumption, yes.
And that's on based on consumption, okay. And then the custom work. What is custom work?
Well, in case we have to dig up, dig sewer, something like that.
Okay, so that's sort of aside for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's,
Well, no, that's money coming in.
that's,
You're looking
this
at
is,
revenue.
this is revenue.
Yes, okay. Well, yeah, well, that's it, so that's revenue, but obviously that's a fund set aside for that, right?
But it's just they thought they may receive that much money,
Okay,
right, they just made put an amount there.
just put it in on, okay.
Obviously, it should be $2 or something.
So, under the, okay, so that 220-100, sewer charge is 192,000, and then other revenues, sewer is 123,000. Boy, we're bringing in what, $300,000?
You know what, I can't answer that,
Oh.
because
Okay.
you guys made up the budget, so.
Yeah, that was, that's kind of, I was kind of asking about that too. I'm thinking-
That is a lot,
I'm
yeah.
trying to think, wow, we're putting that much in for sewer?
Yeah.
Whoa,
I don't think we're spending that.
that's
much.
making good money there.
Yeah. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried.
Actually, Doug's, it's just a receiving file.
Oh, so I don't.
No, I'm just saying it's a receiving file.
Okay. All right. Let me see here. I have Christmas hours now.
No,
No?
we've got AP.
Pardon?
AP.
I don't have that down here. One second. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Motion to receive and file the accounts payable.
No, this one you accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the accounts payable.
I wonder why I don't have that down here.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna forget one. Seconder? Ray? Discussion? All in favor? Carried. page missing. Which is our next one?
We're now from Heritage.
Yeah, that's right.
Just give me a minute so I can find it. Sounds good. No, I'm just, I got it here, but. Well, I'm missing. We'll have to wing it still. Okay, the Sask Heritage meeting, or information. I would like to see a motion to table it.
Your Honor, why would we table it? Or would you not just accept the report as presented?
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I guess-
it's simply a report from,
Oh, yeah.
there would be nothing to change on there, so when we just accept the report as presented,
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
do you think, Councillor Hawkins?
I do.
Think so?
Sure.
We should make that a motion first.
Yeah. I'll give the discussion.
Okay, a motion to accept the report as presented.
And I'll second.
Any discussion?
No, I think it was a good report, and I think if we continue to pursue as the delegation said, is finding ways to work more together.
Yeah.
And that probably a lot of this stuff may have not come up if we would have been able to have those conversations together. We would have been able to remedy a lot.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, the report. I lost my, I don't have my page.
Well,
Oh. Okay. Okay, this is to do with the information for the St. Joseph's Hospital.
We started that last time.
Yeah. We can start with a motion. And a seconder.
What was the motion?
to accept the report?
No, we're gonna,
We've got to make a donation,
Oh,
yeah.
and we weren't sure how much last time, so we did some research.
So who made the motion?
Ray did, I thought.
Okay,
Who did?
so
Ray
this,
started it, but he didn't make an amount.
Oh, okay.
this is a motion then to decide on the donations
Yes.
for the, okay.
And we'll need a seconder, and then we can have a discussion.
No problem.
Teresa, seconder. Now the discussion.
Well, last time, we had the request from St. Joseph Hospital, because they can't have their gala this year, they asked for us for donations. We had thrown out a number of different amounts, but we wanted to find out the cost of the defibrillators to find out if it was even going to make a dent. So we've got the prices now.
I will put a number of $5,000. Hold it on the table.
I'm in favor of that all, more than
We have that in our budget, do we?
Yes.
The budget is 9,000 according to him.
it's written on there.
Put it on there.
I like that, and it's quite, and it's, it shows that we're putting in more than last year, which is great, and, yeah, I like, that's good.
Okay. All in favor of the 5,000? Carried. All right. This is a report from Leo Michaud for the Gravelbourg Echoplex.
Nope, you forgot the trans.
You told me it was, you got the transit on the other side here.
Yeah, you have it right here.
I know. Okay, oh yeah, no, I was following one. Okay. Crestline. We're buying a bus. So I need a motion, or do we need a motion to accept?
For me, I just spent $4,000.
Motion to buy the Crestline.
I move.
Thank you for your donation.
I move we spend 30.
I know there's $10,000.
Seconder, Andre.
I'm glad.
Discussion will be around the amount and what we're going to do with it. There's a $40,000 down payment, and we're budgeted in this year to actually pay for it. So we have another, I think it was,
26, isn't
no, it's,
it? 66.
we need about 60.
66,251,40.
And we did have a budget set aside
We do,
for that.
We
So-
do, right now it's coming out of, we had a provincial grant of 55,000 that we received, and so then there's other money in another area.
Okay.
Didn't quite break that one.
So do we want to expense out the rest, say December 25th, out of this year's budget? So that's paid for.
How nice to be able to do that. That's good plan.
Was it,
I think if we budgeted for it, what we were into.
was that, it was budgeted for this year's budget?
Yes.
Is that the same?
Yeah.
We're working on this, okay.
Otherwise, the money has to go into the next year's budget, and we
Right.
have to, there's a lot of other things to do to try to
Yeah.
make sure to hang on to it. So.
And we'll all be picked up for council? Is that how that?
Yeah.
I think that do you need a motion, or do you want to directly, how do you want to do that?
Well, you already made the motion.
It's all done.
Okay.
Well, first you,
All,
with the 40, with the down payment, and
Yeah.
then with the.
all in favor?
For sure.
Carried.
Second. Sorry.
I made the motion.
Who made the motion? You did?
I second.
And Sam seconded? Okay, all right.
Okay.
So the balance we pay, you're saying in December?
Right. So it cost a total of $99,354. Okay, yes,
And how old is our other bus?
2002.
Okay, so it's 18 years old.
Is that a trade-in or
No.
anything for it?
No, according to the budget, you're hoping to get 8,000.
Oh.
That's what the budget says. Not whether
Yeah.
you'll get it or not, that's another story.
Okay. 13.2, meeting of December 24th. Motion to move or delete, cancel? Paul, seconder Ray, discussion.
We're gonna replace it with the meeting on
Well, we talked about the 29th,
the 29th.
but it's getting so close that we can cancel the meeting too.
So Paul, if you have it on the 29th, we're going to turn around and have one in January, that first meeting in January. You're going to have two.
Well, if you have it on the 29th, I won't be here.
We've had our obligations in the non-meetings we're supposed to have for this year.
Yeah, like this is a normal thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like, is to cancel it.
I would make the motion to cancel.
Okay.
the-
Yeah, just put cancel in there, not.
Is there any urgent business that requires being done before January?
Paul and Ray already made the motion.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's good. It was her recommendation, that she knows.
Susie, do we have any?
No, nothing
urgent
that can't wait. We still continue to pay the bills, but there's no, this is a normal procedure, what you usually do.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if there was any urgent business that we needed to take care of
Well,
before the end.
there's always urgent stuff, but I mean, it'll just get carried over to that first meeting in January. All right?
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Motion for the town of Gravelbourg Christmas hours.
I will make the motion that on
to accept the Christmas hours, and on December 24th, that the office be closed at 12 o'clock.
And what about your, the last date, January 4th? Did you change that one?
Not yet, Monday,
Okay.
but nobody said anything, so why should we change?
January 4th isn't a Friday. Monday.
That's a good one too.
Oh, it is a Monday. It is,
Yes, So just so everybody understands why, the reason why Monday becomes a stack is because we have, is considered, Boxing Day is considered a stack for us. So being that it's on a Saturday, so then we're able to take off that Monday, okay? All right? Just so everybody understands that.
So the thing on the table is the noon, 8 till noon.
Yeah, that's common practice.
All in favor?
Did we get a second?
Yep, I think so.
Actually, I never even had Andre made the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. So December 24th is 8 a.m. till noon, and the January 4th is a Monday.
We'll move January 1st, 4th to the Monday.
Okay, 13.4 is Ludwig Wisdom and Associates. We had them in about 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
2013, yeah.
Okay, they find money for us through the GST and PST, and that's how we would pay them.
Yeah, sounds like pretty.
So we don't do them every year, we just,
Did they find funds last time?
We always do, yeah.
yep.
We always make mistakes.
Motion to hire, or?
Is it higher rate contract?
Yeah, we would contract.
Okay, Ray, seconder. Teresa? Any discussion more on it?
Fine, well.
Putting your order in, are
I'm
you?
putting it in order.
All in favor? Carried. All right. 13.5, Aquaflex. This is a report from Leonisho that they would like to put in 4 new sand filters. Oh, sorry, motion on the table first.
Motion for 4 new sand filters.
We're discussing it. This is where I have a tough time
I know.
discussing after the fact.
It's a kind of-
Motion and then a seconder.
I'll second.
Second? Okay. Now discussion.
So, on these sand filters, did we budget these sand filters to replace them?
Yeah.
I thought we had, so for this whole full cost?
No, we actually, we received 8,000 from the league,
Okay.
okay? And then there was a budget amount to go through with this. So we do have enough now to buy all 4.
To buy all four?
Under equipment maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was equipment maintenance, we have $6,806. So those 2, we have 14,000. So we should be able to.
so we'll be able to cover
Yeah.
it? Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay, good.
How long do these filters last? Just curious.
Well, I can't even remember the last time he did those.
Well, remember when we turned it over to the SOS, and the old corporation gave up the thing? We had changed everything down, and that would be what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, it's not something they don't.
18. Whether they've done it since, I don't know.
So if we have budgeted, or we have more in our budget than this amount, are there other maintenance things that we should
No, we.
Well, this is the cost per filter and there's 4.
per filter?
So
Okay,
that's 4 times that.
okay.
So we'd be looking at $11,572, but that's not with any of the taxes on, so.
Yeah.
We better not over, right?
Yeah.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, Public Works report. Motion for option 2.
I will second that.
Andre, seconder. Discussion?
I don't have a problem with paying for that, when we did the repair, it broke.
And you want to talk to Dustin about it or not, I mean, it's no big deal.
Yeah. No, I like the idea that we're kind of taking the upper road on this. And
So the cultural center pays the other half, is that how I understand it?
okay. Good.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, uncollectible utility accounts. Resolution is required to remove the uncollectible utility company account. I need a resolution.
I will make that resolution.
Andre, seconder. Ray? Discussion. These are old.
Well, they're,
They should be cleared off the books.
take them off the
So they're uncollectible.
Yes.
So do we amortize an amount for, like, lost accounts?
Yeah, in the audit.
Lots of people do in their budget, put in a little factor for
bad debt.
bad debt. So there is a little figure? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't, like, actually, before I left, I asked if these be written off, there was more. But these, because, it's a step that you do to get ready for audit
Right.
purposes, so it's already done, okay. Because it only can be done with a resolution.
Right.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, policies and procedures.
I'd like to make a motion that we create a policy and procedures manual.
I believe we already have one.
As together in a manual.
Oh, put them together?
Yeah, as a manual to update and clean up some of our old documents and put together as a manual.
I'll second that.
Motion was Teresa, second was Paul. More discussion?
I can volunteer to do that. I know our staff are very busy, and this is just above and beyond what is required of them. So I would volunteer to edit and compile them. The information in the manual is critical, and it needs to be easy to read, easy to file, or find and available to all of our employees. So I could have probably a draft done by February, and maybe there's another council member who would like to work with me to sort of edit my edits.
I've already been doing some work on that too, so.
Excellent. We'll work together on that.
All in favor? Carried. Okay. 13.9. Tax services. We need a motion. I'll make the motion and I'll read this out. That council accept the list of lands in arrears as presented and to exclude from the list of lands, properties in which the amount of taxes in arrears does not exceed 1/2 of the immediately preceding year's tax levy. That tax service be authorized to handle the tax enforcement proceedings on behalf of the town of Gravelbourg. Seconder. Andre. Any discussion on it?
So is this just like the water bills? Is it just?
No.
No,
Or-
this is tax enforcement.
Yeah, I know tax enforcement. I
That's a
understand.
procedure. It's a step.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
step.
okay.
Okay, got it.
That includes cool tax plus property,
Yes, it includes everything.
so it should be stated school and property.
Nope, that's all you have to state is there, that's the combined, municipal and school. Okay,
All in favor? Carried. Okay. That concludes our open part of. Say what again?
EMO 13 can.
No, I had everything perfect and I don't know why I'm all mixed up.
That one was added,
Yeah,
that was added to the agenda.
Just before we started.
that's why it's always good to call in, so it's on the agenda.
Oh, not a problem.
Okay, I wrote it down. So what's next?
EMO.
EMO and ECO.
And
EDO. Oh, E, say that again? EDO.
EMO and EDO.
Oh, ED, I had ECO, so, because what's EMO and EDO got to do? Okay,
They're two separate.
so they're two separate, so you should be 1310 and 1311.
Okay.
Okay,
We need a motion.
Just that we should start to look to another person to accommodate the EM officer, so we have somebody that can take over later on.
Okay.
But we're relying right now on one person.
Seconder.
So, what's that? So, the motion to,
To start getting somebody trained to assist.
so you want to advertise that position?
We are going to advertise the position.
As an assistant, training.
As an assistant.
whatever.
Because right now we're relying on one person. And if we had another person to go back up in case something happened to the first person.
We have a seconder. Reyes. Motion.
I'll second.
Second, Teresa. Discussion.
The way it works, when I remember what we are, we do have some backups in place, like the hospital has their own procedures. There's other people that have procedures. I understand what you're saying, but there's backup in other places that would come in.
They're part of the system.
Right.
They are part of the system.
Yeah.
So would this EMO assistant be a paid position?
Right, that's
Pardon?
Would this EMO assistant be a paid position?
not usually.
And should, we could,
What are you
because
recommending?
it would be, they would have to do studying, they would have to take course, orientation to their fact.
Well, we pay for that,
We pay for that anyway?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So instead of paying for one, we'll now be paying for two?
Yes.
Same thing,
Same thing.
same price? Not a lot of money.
$400 a year.
Yeah.
It'd be 2,400 now, plus any training. Training,
Well,
travel,
isn't it the one now getting $100 a month,
which is 1,200 a year.
which is $1,200 a year?
Yeah.
So it'd be $2,400 a year for the two, and that would be on the next budget.
It'd be 2,400 for the two.
Yes.
If he, yes.
Yes.
But it's like two counselors going to a committee meeting and getting $75 each. Having a second person doesn't hurt.
So if we had a town councillor that assisted him, who was also there to learn,
Yes.
would that fill that gap?
A town councillor could be there for 4 years, then, unless if something happens and he's not re-elected, then we have to have another councillor again retrained. If we have a body that's trained, then is always outside of the town council duties.
But the guy could move away. The guy could move away. The second guy we're training, he could move away. I
Oh,
mean,
he
you can't
could.
guarantee that.
As well as the first one.
And that was the first one, so if we have the first one move away, we have a got a
Yeah,
backup
no, I hear, I
that's a
hear.
little bit knowledgeable. But it's not an easy position. It takes time to learn things,
Yeah.
not a month or two, or just on the spot.
And then if one person can't make it to a meeting, his counterpart
The other
could.
one is there. One is a week, whatever, on holidays, and everything, the other one's there.
There's always a backup.
Actually, the first one works out of town a lot. So, and it's not a bad idea to have two
Yep.
for that position. Especially if it's gonna take a couple years to train.
But it's the same situation, we got public work, with 3 guys running down, they were, we got 2 more there. And a lot of issues like that. But then they put issues like EMO, which is, we're sure we don't have no incidents so far. But it could happen once.
Absolutely.
It did happen in the past.
You might actually.
But if a person was out of town, they can come in.
You might actually get a report.
If a person hadn't, if there was a disaster, that EMO would immediately come back
That's right.
and take over. So, yeah, I'm not opposed to having somebody else
This
train.
is future planning for the town, for the benefit of these ratepayers. There's a lot of ratepayers and all of the units in Gravelbourg. They're up in age. They would be looking towards us to supply that service.
Well, it's always nice to have people trained
Yeah.
that are in the community.
Takes a lot to train.
And
So
then
do
if
you always
there,
pay them the same, like, he's in training, right? So should he be receiving the same thing as someone who is fully trained
Well, the other guy started at $100 a month.
from day one?
From day one, too.
But he was the coordinator.
Yeah, but he didn't have any training.
Yeah, but it didn't matter, that's how it is. You're
No,
all
it's
being
$100
paid
whether
something
you're
to
trained
be,
or not,
yeah.
because then the training cost us extra money.
Normally how it's set up, when I was EMO coordinator, you had an assistant who, but no, that assistant, you chose who that assistant was, and that person was kind of like your, you know, you would work on things together, but it was a volunteer position. That's how it has been set up in the past. Each person, there's so many committee members, and they each have an alternate. So just in the event that somebody can't show up, then the alternate would step into those. And actually, basically, all those people on the EMO would take training. They all start out with the basic training, and then it's all volunteer. The only person that was ever paid was the EMO coordinator. Because they have a big job.
But do you
Keep
think
the plan
that
up.
At the present date, do you think we can get a volunteer that could do that?
Well, you know that he's got to set up if he's going to do it, he needs to set up a committee that will, get people together. There's certain areas that you have to cover, social service, communication, transportation, and I can't remember all the rest, but you set up your committees, and then you meet, and you do things together as a committee. But the EMO coordinator has to coordinate all that stuff, okay? So just so.
No, but in the last 2 years or 3,
There's been nobody.
there's been no reports.
There's been nobody,
So okay, so
yes.
how did this other one get back on?
Well, he kind of got reenacted when COVID hit.
When COVID hit,
Yeah.
because he has
He
had
helped,
the training.
he's been helping,
Okay.
yes.
Don't expect any reports.
Well, we don't know that, Paul.
Unless
So,
we have-
Paul, we don't know that.
Well, of course we don't know that.
Yeah.
but if he's coming in and we have an opportunity to
Yep.
speak with him and tell him what we like, would this be the opportunity to say, and we want you to have an assistant? Or a secondary, or would we have another
Probably good to
name?
bring up those discussions to him and see what because he may already have somebody in there that he's been looking at.
Well, it should be
He
on file for the town, but
can
No.
still make the recommendation.
We don't have anybody in file because there's been nobody to oversee that position. And so basically when you take training with EMO, They tell you to get your committee together that you can work together with. You don't want somebody on your committee that you're always going to have to be, you know, the chain of command, somebody doesn't like what you're doing. You have to be able to work together in an emergency situation. So they, you know, that person basically gets his committee together. And then they reach out into the community to help to get other people involved. So that's usually how it's set up. Okay.
But lately, to find volunteers is tough.
Yeah.
People don't seem to want to volunteer for anything anymore.
You just have to ask the right people.
Yeah.
I hope we can change that.
Yeah, I think when we had the pandemic and we got together and Matt started enacting that, we had all kinds of people coming in and coming together and was very much involved in there, so.
And he still is.
And he still is, and we're still doing it.
So the last time I was on council, this was one of the committees I was on, and I encouraged, Matthew from the town council perspective. You know, you have to show what you're doing, and we have to have plans. So I think if there was somebody on there from town council that could keep on promoting our wishes too.
Well, there's Andre's on.
Yeah, okay, so I think that's a good way to.
So first off, then, we have a revised plan right now.
We have a plan.
How old is it?
Well, keep it up to date.
The plan we have right now is up to date. Now, the pandemic, we never had a pandemic, as probably 90% of the communities in Canada didn't even have a pandemic.
Okay, I want to see the plan that we have in place right now.
Okay.
We do have it, because
It's downstairs.
at one of the council meetings, it was given to the council, because we had to look at it.
Okay. Yeah, I just
So
want to see it.
the plan is there.
It just needs to be updated.
I remember working with him at Pichi when we had the flood, and it worked out. She had
Very
everything in
much so,
place.
yes.
And I believe it was based on that plan is where we were able to pull the components for the pandemic plan.
Mhm.
You know, who were the contact people to get things going.
Okay, so don't hold off until we bring them in and talk about things.
I would see that.
Okay, so just, all right. Now, where are we? I had everything completely in my head.
Okay, Bert.
Swiss cheese.
I went through the 2.5 hours with Susie today.
Well, just in addition to
Okay, so,
EDU,
oh, okay, so we're at the end then, are we not?
that's right.
Okay, so the open part of the meeting is over.
No, we still have 13.11.
Yeah, EDO.
My question is, we gotta get a new EDU. Or reinstate the EDU, that's where we have to go.
Well, we could definitely hire a part-time one too, right now.
I believe we have to make a motion
Okay,
before we discuss. So what's your motion, Rick?
That we advertise for an EDU.
okay, second. Teresa, discussion?
So I just kind of wonder where this comes from, because we did decide a few meetings ago that we wanted to wait. We were going to look at budgets. We were going to try to wait and see if there was a way to fulfill some of these bases. And we're not going to do much through December and the first part of January.
I'm talking for next year.
And I think that then the consideration is when our EDO or our CAO gets here, that would be a position that we could really decide on.
All the fall from the past EDU are fulfilled.
You must know more about this than we do.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, I'm a new counselor, I'm
No,
asking a question.
Like, we can hire a temp, the way what we did at these are out-of-scope jobs, so temporary. So the museum has rehired temporarily the other EDO because we have grants to fulfill. And there's other grants out there to fulfill. So we don't want to lose on it.
Oh, I understand that.
So what I'm saying is it's by the hour, like it's not like they're set in stone that they've got hired for a full-time job.
So the museum has hired the old economic
To
development.
finish off the grants that we got, yeah.
Okay.
So all of the other
And
committees.
also
that-
hire for to help in administration ongoing.
But it's the museum that's paying for that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Do we have to? We got about $40,000 worth of grants out there that if we don't fulfill our commitments, they take it back.
Yeah,
So,
So your committee decided to do it that way?
yes, yeah.
And Sports and Rec Committee, they're doing their own grants, right?
This is not the same department.
not that same.
But
EDO is
EDO
different.
is different for
Yes.
Sports and Rec?
Sports, they're separate, yes. And Ray, right now, the only thing is needed in EDO is the website, which we're already handling downstairs. We're handling that downstairs. Benita is being trained to have that, and it's going to be coming online pretty soon. The new website, which was already in the budget.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, so with their flare out that we advertise retirement in Gravelbourg from different area or different country in Canada, up to Gravelbourg to retire.
Okay,
Is
well,
that in function now?
yeah. We have the phone, it's now put down to our office. So if anybody calls in regards to EDO stuff, we answer it, okay? All right, that's how it's working right now.
We don't have a proactive EDO at this time,
Yes,
period.
yeah.
We can either do a temp and wait until the new CEO gets here to figure out what we want to do and go from there.
Which is what Mr. Hawkins suggested.
Well, can I ask, who's the museum committee? Who's the museum committee?
Melvin, myself, Toes, and Andre.
No, I'm off now.
Well, you're off now.
Remember I was
Okay.
off.
Okay, you weren't then.
And I'm on.
Yeah,
And you're on
so,
And who are our representatives from town council?
Should be.
Okay. When is it not?
you can have more if you want. You can come on as a board member too. Like
No, I'm talking about the town part of it and the council part of it, because we give to it and we've always had members. That means you got 4 people, you got 4 voting members.
Yeah.
So you could have a saw.
What?
You could have 2 against 2.
But there are 4.
What is the minimum requirements for museum
I
work?
have no idea. We look for new members every year when we have the AGM. I think quorum is, if you have 2, you can make quorum.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the bylaws
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I know.
No, but it's in our interest to have a vibrant committee.
Yep.
And with as many people as possible on it.
Mhm.
But then, your office doesn't have the time to do all that kind of work for,
Well, we took it on because that was important, it was
because
happening,
I found
so.
out through other communities, just email or anything is not sufficient. Because a lot of these people, they're over a certain age that they don't even have a cell phone or a tablet. And these are the people that would like to get out of another, let's say Vancouver, and they want to tablet themselves, which happened in the past in Gravelbourg. That's why we got those people from British Columbia, we got someone from Ontario, we got some from Manitoba.
There's some that's coming every month.
We
Yeah.
have
So-
And
it's
we
not a
have
big
talked to those.
population.
So Ray, just so you know, we have talked to those people through our office.
Yeah.
And they've been here. They've been here and they call back, and whatever information they require, we get it to them. At this point, is what we're saying, okay? We have been handling it.
And then it's not affecting your part of administration?
Like I said, we deal as it comes in,
It comes in.
yes.
But
Everything affects.
The workload downstairs, you
Yes.
need 3 people to be and have a very strong.
Yes, yes.
By
But
having
right now,
2,
it's not, I would consider a busy time.
exactly, but look at how much stuff is coming through right now. to
No,
us.
no, I mean in EDO.
Yeah.
Like there's been no calls in the last few
Yeah.
weeks. Nothing like
But
that, nothing on.
nobody's making something happen, that's what EDO is, being proactive.
The question is, on the 18th is when the CEO that we have hired is coming on the 18th of January. From now to the 18th, of January, what is it that a temporary EDO would do that the new CAO cannot hire at that point?
We can get somebody hired temporarily for the rink, same thing.
But that one's gonna be longer, it's much longer term, and the rink right now
There is no,
is, right now, the rink is critical right
we're
now.
talking about so much an hour.
Oh, yeah, we understand that, Darcy. So what files are you talking about that are imminently?
All I know is what we got at our level, that we didn't used to have to look after. The EDO did that. Now we're hiring that person to get it done.
I understand.
There are other grants, like, isn't the board asking for different things?
Yeah, but isn't the person we're going to hire going to do that?
I think so, yeah, that's,
Maybe that person could double up in checking for extra gas. Would you think that would be a possibility?
yeah.
Just throwing that out.
Well, I don't find any wrong in hiring a temporary person. And for one thing, the new person coming in definitely won't be ready to be figured out in what, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months?
Yeah, it would be a
Who would be the temporary person that is already trained?
You would have to have.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I wish we wouldn't have had to do what we did. We didn't have to hire her if she was already here. So we just, somebody temporary.
But it would have to be somebody who's already trained, knows
Yes.
exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, there's, okay, on the other hand, there's Leanne that's already trained to help out at the rink. And she'd go on a part-time basis. Hopefully that would happen. And hopefully then she can maybe come in a little bit more, like fulfill a few other things. Like, if we have 6 unionized employees and 6 managers, and we're cut in half, and we can still do the job, why do we have to hire anybody? Tell me that. We have 6 managers and 6 town employees. Yes, we're missing half our staff right now. And everybody's doing what they can. They're definitely not running at 100%. We're probably running at 50, 60%. Or somebody's working a heck of a lot of overtime that's not getting paid.
So what I heard is, we're already running a count. Why do we need to hire more?
Okay,
Is that what you said?
here's the question. Why are we hiring anybody? Tell me that. If everything's going well, why are we hiring more people?
That's kind of what you guys have asked.
No,
To hire more.
I'm talking about the overall picture.
Well, I don't disagree with what you're saying, because if there's a need, we should hire somebody.
Yeah.
But right now, you're just saying there's some files and there's some
Yeah.
things there.
That's why you just pay so much an hour,
Well,
part-time.
we know what the files are at the museum. We know
Okay,
what the needs are
There's
to rent.
deadlines on these things, right?
Okay.
And if we just pay the money back if they don't get done.
Well, I
I understand why the museum did that, because there are deadlines, because there are open files right
Yeah.
now. What I'm hearing right now, the only open file, as far as it presents to the town, is the website, which is being taken care of.
All right, so then, let's go back. I'm talking the overall picture of the town. 6 managers, 6 town employees. We're half-staffed, but we're doing fine. Are we running at 100% capacity, everybody? I doubt it. Like, yeah, you don't know, because you don't want to
I
know
believe
what, I
that
don't know.
it's working good. I do believe that we do need to hire more. I'm just
We're just talking.
asking
people until we get
just
things
asking
straightened out.
questions. Hiring a temporary for 1 month from now to when the new CAO starts.
No, the temporary might last 3 or 4 months before that person gets them to go up heavy.
Before the,
Well, the new CEO is not just going to jump in and say, hey, I'm good to go. I mean, there's training involved, absolutely.
for the new CAO.
Yeah.
I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying I'm.
Well, I feel like we have a double standard here. We don't want to hire because everybody's doing okay. So I just want to know is, why do we want to even hire anybody anymore? If everything's going okay? Obviously, things aren't getting done. They're on the back burners. Things didn't get done.
in my understanding, the only thing that's on the back burner right now is the website.
No, there's
Right
more.
now. Well,
No, there's more.
Pick on Public Works, do you think he's got everything done?
When we started to have an EDU, things were happening. Gravelbourg, things are happening. And we had an EDU, then we had Chris Fulton, then we had Monica, then we had Bernard Thibault. Things were happening. You should see the stack of research that happened.
great.
Yeah.
I have
Let me
no problem
finish.
with hiring an
We
EDO.
have to find a way to get all those projects that was on paper right now to see if we can keep on going.
I
We
totally
need
agree
growth,
with
you
you.
know. We
Totally
need
agree
growth.
with you.
We cannot stand still.
We're not talking full-time positions whatsoever right now,
We're not taking away from anybody.
except for,
I'm just asking questions as in discussion.
So is this something, so I'm trying to understand, is this something that the CAO does, or is this something that he hires to help him with what he's doing? Or she?
It's a staff position?
It's a staff position, and
position.
yeah, the EDO deals with all the economic development that
Right.
under the auspice of the CAO.
So
Like it's,
is he the one who would normally hire that out? Or how is
Yes.
it? Yes.
He would hire the staff person to fill that position,
yes.
Well, right now she would.
or she would, yes.
The only person council hires is the CAO.
Right.
CAO
That's
is
what it is.
responsible for all the rest of the hirings.
By motion from council.
Yes.
We make the
We
final
still have to
decision, not the
accept
CAO. We
No, but the
decide.
way it's set up is basically.
It's set up that they
the
find, but the resolution has to come from council
That's
to
from
accept.
council.
But they don't want, your ideas, right, Darcy, except the fact is this is where we are now. This is what we've got to work with. And so we're trying to decide, you know, from, right now, the museum needed more stuff done, which you guys have covered that base and did that. So if you knew, instead of just saying hypothetically, there was a lot of stuff going on, and there has to be files up there, if somebody knew that, then I think that would be a good reason to say yes to this.
Well,
But I think, that, you know, this is just kind of hypothetical
Are
right
you
now.
scared that hiring a temporary person is outbidding the CAO?
No.
This is a temporary position.
No, you're not hearing what we're saying.
what is happening with, for instance, the Solstice Committee, or the Solstice Festival? Is anyone working on that? Is that a part of
My
the
understanding
EDA?
by the
EDO?
museum meeting is, that's kind of, the museum is kind of dealing with that, or Isabel.
No.
Solstice is a standalone, just
It's
like
a
the museum.
standalone, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not an
social is
EDO
being looked after
position.
by the rec director,
Now,
is where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, historically, the EDO has always been able to bring in more grants than their position will
Yes,
take.
absolutely.
You have not, I mean, from what I can remember of all the
You
meetings and all
can't
the
use,
reports.
you can't use the grants to pay their wages.
No, but in effect, with the benefits we get are definitely more than any kind of salary you would pay out to that person. And is that an important consideration, guys? I mean, if we have someone searching and developing projects and searching out for those grants, they'll probably bring in $40,000, $50,000 in a year. It seems to be the average that I'm seeing there, because they already did that for the museum board.
Is that how it has worked?
What's that?
Is that what the EDO has done? Probably in
Oh, my goodness.
more grants than.
You know, years, it was $350,000.
Some years it's quite substantial sum. And, you know, so the question is, as you said, right now, we're kind of in a financial bind, and we're trying to figure things out, and we haven't even hired a CAO. So where do we go with all this? Yeah. And maybe, Councilor Hawkins, they have a point, maybe once we get the whole CAO situation settled, should we then entertain that possibility?
we could entertain that.
If we are hiring somebody for the rec, she could take on a few, or he can take on a
If there are
few.
projects that arise, we could ask her to do that.
But I think that the.
Who we hired, yes, she
There would
could
be
take
more
on
grant
a few
available
things
too,
too.
if we think of.
Yeah, but is it appropriate for you to suggest that the museum take on projects that are not
Oh, no,
associated with the
I
museum?
don't want to do that.
See, we're not, I think you have to have somebody that knows what an EDO does. Because you can't hire anybody green to stand up there and say,
Oh,
look through the
definitely.
files. So you must have something in mind.
No, the one we just hired and the one that we want to hire for there, I mentioned Leanne, both of them have experience in all that.
Yeah.
I have no problem if we hire the person that already knows what she's doing, that's for sure.
But
I don't think
ultimately,
we disagree with you, it's just the fact that we're not seeing the immediate need like you're talking about. I think if you had an immediate need, like the museum needs somebody to fulfill these grants, we would say yes immediately.
Well, the problem we have here, there's no effective economic development
Yeah.
anymore.
No.
I don't see how we can
An EDO
afford
will
to not.
work with the businesses. We'll do research for the businesses. We'll do research for.
I know what she does, but we're talking about a month here. We're talking about a month.
Pardon?
We're talking about a month. Right now.
To me, it doesn't make sense to hire a temporary. I'd rather we take the time to hire somebody that is permanent. Like, if we're gonna advertise, let's hire a permanent EDO, not a temporary that's gonna just leave that position, and we're hiring a permanent EDO. And when we had our discussions at the last meeting, or one meetings when we were discussing it, we had agreed that we would wait till the new CAO starts and have this, and then from there
That was
advertise.
to hire permanent.
So has that changed?
Well, after I went to the meeting over there, they were running ragged.
But that's the rec director, that's not the EDO. And,
No,
and
that's
we did talk about and agreed to what we're gonna do to deal with that.
Okay, I
Well,
just want to know is, I hope we don't have 12 people in 4 or 5 months if we don't need them.
may I make a suggestion that perhaps we do the groundwork? We do up the job description, place the ads, and wait until our new administrative officer gets here to go through the ads and look at hiring.
He might have a different, I'm going to say idea.
Concepts, okay?
Like he might say that 3 or 4 is good enough. Like, because I don't know his, you know.
Yeah.
We are expecting a lot from him. He sounds like he can do a lot.
Yeah, because he might be able to do a lot of that stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
With the one that we're hiring.
And we are going to know in January, so we must,
Yes.
we gonna know.
So we leave it alone?
We'll leave it alone. It's
Okay.
Good topic.
Good discussion.
How many hours, just one more question, how many hours will it require to take care of the museum need?
Anywhere from 4 to 10 hours a month.
Really?
Like there's applications going in right now for grants for the students. They have to be in now to apply for money for May or June. So she's just working.
Oh, I understand, but 4 to 10 hours shocks me.
Yeah, but that's all she
It's a
do.
very small little window of time.
Yeah.
Okay, that was one other question.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're thinking, it's just,
Okay, does that satisfy our open meeting?
I believe so.
Do we do the motion for going into a closed meeting?
But I know what we're going in camera for,
Employee matters.
so what exactly? I mean, the last meeting we had, it said, none of those items should have been in camera, I'm sorry. And if it's gonna be like that again, I'm just gonna leave.
Oh, it is employee matters.
Can I find out what it is?
And then camera.
Is it like a staffing or a disciplinary or overstaff or?
why don't we just discuss that once we go into that?
Because
We need to change it.
according to the Municipalities Act, we have to have the section for the privacy already in the motion.
He's going to read it.
I will be reading, that's what it was ready to do.
Go in. It's right there. So it's
This council recessed to the committee as a whole, closed session at time 9:03, pursuit of section 120, 2A of the Municipalities Act to discuss employee matters.
I'll second that.
Who made the motion? Me? Well, you made the motion. Who made the second?
Oh,
It's not pausing, so. We're still in pause, okay?
You need a motion for it, Karen?
I'll move it. Oh, you want to do it, Arthur?
Okay, so, I'm coming out of pause. Whoops, resume, video's resume, okay? Just gotta wait, takes a few minutes, okay?
Can you hear me?
Okay, so,
Okay, motion to come out of camera at 9:25.
I'll move.
Second.
Sam.
Sam. All in favor? And adjourned, did we need to do a motion on that? Oh, motion to adjourn, Andre, Ray,
no, we just need one act.
9:26.
Motion.
That's a lot of stuff. You did a lot of stuff.
Well, I know, that's,
How many love their masks?
Oh.
I didn't know my
Can you
breath,
imagine?
I didn't know my breath was so bad.